Hey there, my name is McLean Evans, and you're watching the very first ever of my series, Talks with Pip. I go to school in Birmingham, Alabama. In Birmingham, Alabama, they broadcast this live radio talk show that some of you guys may have heard of, and it's called the Rick and Bubba Morning Talk Show. First of all, at Stanford University, I am a journalism and mass communications major, and my concentration is in PR, public relations. So last semester, I decided that I wanted to start getting an internship to build my resume, to build my experience, and I was trying to get a PR one. And it didn't work out, which led me to getting an email, random out of the blue, that said, internship with the Rick and Bubba Morning Talk Show. And I thought, gee, I like to talk. That might be fun. I come on this talk show, and that morning, and they give me my nickname on the show after interviewing me, and they said, you're going to be McPippet. And I'm thinking, McPippet, where'd that come from? And if you guys would know and understand and go listen to some of the guys, how their brains work and how they come up with things, the humor was over my head. I didn't quite understand it. They said that there's a dog in the movie Jaws, and when they see the dog, they scream the name, Pippet! And when they scream the name, then that. So somehow they already had that being a joke, so they're like, they're going to call me McPippet, and then we're going to scream my name. Whenever they wanted me, they were like, McPippet! Because the Rick and Bubba, there's 5 guys. There's Rick Burgess and Bubba, who are the co-hosts of the show. And you have Speedy, you have Helmsy, you have Adler, and then you have Greg. Actually, there's 6 guys. My bad. I counted wrong. There's 6 guys. And then they get interns to the show. And then whenever they get interns, they give their interns a nickname. Now, the role of the interns on this morning talk show is that they sit there and they answer the phone in the morning. Good morning. This is Rick and Bubba. What's your name and where are you calling from? And we write down the name, and it's the phone trolling. And then we clean the kitchen, and we get breakfast. We do intern duties. And that's pretty much what you do. I had so much fun with this internship because of my specific experience that I got to have. And I'll kind of explain that. We'll set up why I have this YouTube channel and what I'm doing and where I'm going with this. One of the days when I was at Rick and Bubba, it was after they gave me my nickname McPippet. It was the start of football season. And they had barbecue and a guy obtained blue holes. And they're talking about the teams and who's going to be good this year. And I've never really cared too much about football, even though I live in Alabama. And I'm thinking, this is so cool. I'm going to know what's going on in football this year, and I'm going to stay up to date. So I kind of said that by working at the radio station, I was going to get to go and be up to date with football and just what was going on. And then they said, Pippet, get in here, we're going to interview you. And I'm thinking, interview me? Interview about what? About football? I don't know anything about football. So they come in there, and I sit in there, and I'm talking on the radio. I'm really nervous, and they're kind of saying things. I'm like, well, I cheered in high school, so actually I do know a thing or two. And then they're asking me the questions, and they're saying things like, all right, we're going to quiz you now, and it was just a wreck. The quiz was a wreck, and I totally get it. It was a good laugh. Blonde, stupid people, blondes, all that, I get it. They tease me. I get off the radio, I'm just like, what was that? Ha ha ha, that was funny. They did that because they were teasing me, but I had a lot of fun doing it. So then the next week comes on, and the political debate is happening. They bring me on the radio to talk about the political debate. And I'm like, there was a political debate last night? Like, I don't know. And they bring me on, they're quizzing me and everything. I'm like, all right. So I get off, and then I was bringing my own coffee creamer to work, and they brought me on asking me why was I bringing my own coffee creamer. I put it in these water bottles because I wouldn't want to bring a whole thing of creamer, so I would just pour like my French vanilla creamer in an empty water bottle, and they found it, and they're like, well, what's this water bottle? I'm like, Pippet, is this your milk? I'm like, oh, it's my coffee creamer. So it was all these different silly things that were happening that they were bringing me on to tease me, and I get it, it was fun, and but then one thing happened specifically, and that was that the 2 other guys I interned with, their names are Ford and Sam, and their interns' names were Ford was King's Speech and Sam was Samuel L. Jacksonville, and they had already been broadcasting for high school football games, and I thought that that'd be really cool to go see what they were doing, because I loved going to my games in high school. I loved cheering at them, so I asked them, hey guys, is there anything I can do? Can I come along? And they said, oh well, you can be our spotter. I'm thinking, a spotter? What's that? I'll be a spotter. So I come to Rick and Bubba in the morning, I'm telling them, I'm going to be a spotter, and they're going, but McPippet, you don't know anything about football, like how are you going to be a spotter? I said, oh well, I'll learn. So for those of you that don't know what a spotter is, that means that you stand in between the play-by-play guy, in this case was Sam, and then the color commentator, in this case was Ford. You stand in between them with the rosters, and you watch the game, and then when people make plays, you find the number that points to the name, so then you can show your play-by-play guy, your color commentator, who the name was. So I went with this game, and had a lot of fun. I didn't know anything was going on with the game, and I'm following it, and Ford's going like, Pip, we know who has the ball. You need to find who's tackling the ball. I'm like, okay, I'll try. So I come in the next week on Rick and Bubba, and it was a Monday, and I was not at the station, but I was driving in my car, and I heard that the guys came on the Rick and Bubba of a show, Ford and Sam, to talk about McPippin and how she do at the game. And they were teasing about how I didn't know and this and that and different things that was happening. And I had this moment where I was just in the car and I'm listening. I'm going, they're talking about me. This is like, what's going on here? So then I go into Rick and Bubba the very next day and I decide, like, I know they're going to bring me on the radio. I know they're going to want to talk to me about this. I got to own it. I got to save myself. I got to make this, I did do good. I have great ideas. And when they're talking on the radio and asked me how I did and responding, I said, but there's just a lot of other stuff that goes on in a high school football game that I think that I could really bring in and talk about. And they go, oh, so do you want to be like a sideline reporter? And I thought, a sideline reporter? I don't know what that is, but sure, I'll be a sideline reporter. So it comes on the week and I'm talking and they bring me off, and what was really silly about it was I got really excited. I was really nervous and I said like. They counted 60 times. And after that 60 times, I thought, oh my gosh. I go back and I listen to myself and I'm just sitting there. I'm like, oh my, McLean, what were you doing? You can't sound like that. And I did something where I wanted to stop saying like, so I got a Sharpie, and every time I said like, I would mark on my hand that a tally mark to keep myself accountable to stop saying like. And then that week they made a montage of me talking, and then when it gets to the next Friday and okay, I'm going to be a silent reporter, the boss of that radio station said, no, don't put McPippin on. It's getting too out of hand. I wanted to keep it professional, and which I was, darn it, what do you mean I can't be on? We just built all this hype, and I still said I'm going to go to Ford and Sam. I'm going to go with the guys, and which that became my quest that I was going to become the sideline reporter. And over the time of the next few weeks, it was just a series of McPippin becoming the sideline reporter, and how eventually I was able to get my interview at the radio station. I came in, I showed him my notebook, I said, like, I have these ideas, let me on, and he agreed with it. And the whole time I'm coming back to Rick and Bubba, and they're asking me about, McPippin, are you the sideline reporter? When were you hired? And the answer is I never was hired. I never was told I was a sideline reporter, but I called myself one, and I said I'm going to be a sideline reporter. Eventually what happened over the course of the season was I became the sideline reporter, and at the very end, the team that we were following was Spain Park High School, and they got to go to the state championship, which meant that since we were the radio station covering the game, we got to go, which meant that I was a sideline reporter at Bryant-Denny Stadium in Tuscaloosa, Alabama, where the Alabama Crimson Tide plays, as a sideline reporter. And without people really kind of even noticing it, somehow I did it. And, how much I know about football? Well, I know a lot more now. But something that I really learned that was valuable was that it's not as much the content that you need to know what's going on, but just how do you deliver it? How can you tell stories? And that's why I was on Rick and Bubba so much, and that I became this regular character, and that people knew who McPippin was, and that they followed my storyline, because with me, they were watching me go into these interviews and figuring out how to become a silent reporter. And every time I was on the radio and I was making them laugh, and I had so much fun on the show. And coming from the show, and the guys at Rick and Bubba, they really gave me a lot of airtime, and they poured into me, and they talked to me, and I read their book, We Be Big, which if you need a book about how to be a broadcaster, go read it. It's, it made sense to me. It's just that this is what I love to do. Talk. I can talk. I can storytell. And, telling people stories, and you tell them over and over again. I never get tired of it, and I love delivering it. And it was this past weekend when I was down in West Palm Beach with one of my good friends, Taylor. She's going to school down at PBA down there. And she was going with her roommate. They were saying, like, McLean, you are such a good storyteller. Why don't you start a YouTube channel? And which I never considered that, because I don't know who the heck would watch my YouTube channels. And, I'm sitting here and I'm talking to a microphone, and it's strange and it's weird. But what I'm saying is maybe it can't go somewhere, And that's why one of the things that I'm going to try is, I'm going to give the show a name. It's going to be called Talks with Pip. I'm going to go by Pip because that's my broadcasting name. From Rick and Bubba, one of the things I took away from it was that McLean is just a long name, and it's a complicated name to broadcast. And through the courses of the time at the radio station, my name is McPippin, but it was eventually shortened down to Pip. And then every time I was on the broadcast for the football games, I went by Pip. I never went by McLean. So that's why it just seems appropriate that Pip is just a name I'm going to carry with me. And it's spunky, it's got a vibe to it, and It's gonna work. And I've got a lot of stories up my sleeve. I'm ready to tell them. I'm ready to deliver. I'm ready to figure out how this YouTube works. I'm ready to become a part of the community. And for any of those that listen to Rick and Bubba and are wondering what is McPippin doing now, what's her job next, this is it. I'm gonna become a YouTuber. I'm gonna broadcast here on YouTube. I'm gonna share stories. I'm going to school back next week. This is my second semester of my junior year. So I live in Birmingham, Alabama, but I'm from Clearwater, Florida. And I'm super excited to see where this leads me. I think I might have another internship lined up for next semester. I've got other buddies of mine that are doing a podcast, but for now, I'm going to see where this takes me. From the Rick and Bubba Show, this is McPippin signing off. I always tell people the problem is never getting me to talk, but it's getting me to stop talking, that is. Below you'll see my Twitter handle, my Instagram account, a link to my blog, and somewhere you'll find my exit interview from the Rick and Bubba Show as McPippin. Thanks for watching the very first episode of Talks with Pip.